Hmm. All right. Think we've got this working at least. So, welcome. Jena Skai here. Today, I am talking about our June energy forecast. So, I like to try to do these towards the beginning of the month, but time got away from me. It seemed like May lasted forever, and then all of a sudden, bam, here we are in June. So, let's come into this energy, this frequency of June for right now. This energy, if you get my newsletter, you know I always kind of share a little bit of numerology insight for the month ahead. So, June is a 5 energy month. So, let's explore what that means a little bit more. 5 energy is kind of the challenging energy, right? It's where challenges arise. It's where we start seeing kind of conflict and things can go either way. And it's where we begin to look at how we are choosing to see things. So, with this energy, what happens is we experience challenges, and these challenges aren't meant to bring us down. They're meant to help us grow. So it's really emphasizing, how are you in the face of challenges? Like what do you do? How are you showing up? And what position are you choosing to hold in the face of those challenges, right? Like that is the key thing with the challenges. So challenges can either just be this negative experience that you have, or they can be a catapult for growth. So if we look at these challenges to be the catalyst of how things begin to change for us, then we find that the challenges are what leads to expansion. And that's really what this 5 energy is all about. It's trying to lead you to that space of expansiveness where you begin to recognize, okay, yeah, I might be experiencing this difficult time right now, or this situation is not working out how I wanted. However, because of that, I now see this whole other pathway, this whole other opportunity that I didn't even realize was there. So, this is when you begin to see that a challenge is just a catalyst for change and transformation. It forces you to open up and look at things in a different way. So, this month, we are really looking at how we can be adaptable and flexible in our way of being, right? If we are clinging too rigid to what we think things should look like, and if we have our path like so nailed down that we have our expectations set that it's supposed to look like this, then this, right? What happens when we're faced with a challenge? Well, then all of a sudden, we no longer are seeing our step by step, and then we start to feel defeated, or we start getting into that resistance of whatever challenge is being presented, and then we no longer see that there's still steps present because they don't look like the steps that you want them to look like, right? I'm hoping that makes sense for you. I think it will, right? We know that sometimes we so quickly think in our minds how something is supposed to look and the steps that it takes to get to what we want, that we don't even realize we're creating these agreements, these negotiations with the universe, that we want things to go our way. And as soon as they don't go our way, it's like, oh no, now this isn't going to happen. And you completely forget that there are numerous multidimensional ways of getting to that same point. So the 5 energy is really this beautiful energy that is a catalyst, and it's through shaking things up. It's through stirring the pot. It's through changing things. It's through looking at, oh, you're comfortable here? Well, let's change some things and see what happens. And we can either, in those moments, let fear lead you, or you can lean into it and stand in your power. And so this 5 energy is really about coming home to self and being able to stand in your power so that you can be flexible and adaptable, so that you can trust yourself more. So how many of you need to work on the self-trust, right? You can start to trust yourself more, that when things show up, when things don't quite go as planned, you are able to find another pathway forward. You're able to work through it more easily and more gracefully because you're not stuck on something looking like a certain way or structure. So, the big key thing with this energy is really, will you let fear lead you? Or will you stand in your power? That's like the motto I want you to keep in mind for this month of June, right? So expect to be pushed past your comfort zones. Like, don't get too snuggly and cozy because things are going to keep changing and kind of keep you on your toes this month. And it's to help you find new ways of doing things. Like, you're going to want to maybe try to settle in a routine, but then things are going to keep happening that keep you from your routine, right? This is not a time of structure. I'm sorry to say. That's going to irritate a lot of people. Um Structure has left the building, y'all. Like, that's part of this energy for the month of June. And we tend to fall back on structure when we are seeking stability and security to help boost our confidence and our self trust, right? So, this is a test in a way of, what happens when you can't have that structure. What happens when every time you try to create a routine, something happens and it just blows it away and you're left still with no structure. How can you create structure of no structure? Right? And it's asking you, how can you take these energies and recognize both sides of them and allow that to be like your strength? So, how does that resonate with you? Where does that take you? How does it help you if you're able to more clearly stand in your power and hold on to that energy? How is it able to help serve you? Right? If you can recognize that you hold both softness and fierceness, if you can recognize how you connect to those energies within yourself at the times that you need to, if you are the one in charge of activating that within you, how powerful is that versus allowing your emotions to just lead the way? So, this is a time of learning how to find your stability within yourself through your own power, through your own core. So, this solar plexus energy is coming through really strong right now. But it is seeking that divine feminine energy within the solar plexus of standing in your power, in the fluidity of that softness, that tenderness of knowing how to adapt and move and flow and be who you need to be in each and every moment. So it's really a beautiful energy. I want to talk a little bit about the moon energy for the month of June too. So, last night we did a little new moon healing circle for Gemini, and it was all about tapping that mindset shift because Gemini is our air sign sisters and brothers. So, that air sign energy being very in the head, doing things that help with mindset is super beneficial around those new moon times that are in air signs, right? We're looking at the mindset stuff when we're working with air signs. So, um, that new moon energy is coming up June 6th. So, with this Gemini new moon, what we're looking at is really paying attention to what the inner stories are. What is being woven in that beautiful mind of yours, right? So, paying attention to those stories that are running behind the scenes inside of you. And how is that playing into how you're feeling, how you're reacting, what you're doing, how you're being, how you're showing up, right? And really fine tuning what that looks like for you. So, listening, going within, checking in with yourself, recognizing maybe taking a little bit more spaciousness and time for that new moon energy, as new moons are a time of rest and restoration. It's not a time for doing any real work or anything. It's more of a time of inner reflection and healing. So that's a really good way to focus on new moon energy, is how can you start healing the stories that are running through your mind? How can you start to rewrite them and rewire your way of thinking about things? So if you're feeling hung up on something and it's really creating like repeating patterns of things happening or things that you're experiencing in your life, doing this work around this Gemini new moon will be really helpful for you to kind of release some of that you've been holding on to. Um, we've got the full moon on Friday, June 21st, and the sign of Capricorn. So I find this extremely interesting because the Capricorn energy is known as like the father energy of the zodiac, right? It's stability, it's security, right? And it's an earth sign. So here we are in this energetic flow of lacking that stability in the structure, but yet here comes this security and the stability. And what is that going to look like in this super flowy energy within the month of June, right? So this is really a time of exploring a new way of finding that for yourself. When the bottom is swept out from underneath of you, how can you find that for you? And being able to weave it together, that you are able to feel more safe in yourself so that you feel like you are your own your protector, right? We are really activating this energy of how we are that for ourselves, how we are able to create boundaries that help protect and nurture us so that we have the spaciousness we need for that inner work, for the time needed for self, right? So, this is a great time of exploring that. Um, it's also about listening to your intuition, right? So, there's a lot coming through around leaning into your intuition more and following that and listening and trusting, right? So I keep coming back to the self trust. And that looks like a lot of different things. And I think it's really going to depend on where you are in your personal journey with this. But it's, trusting the intuitive wisdom that's coming through for you, trusting what you channel, what you receive, trusting those ideas, those inspirations that come to you, right? Like those are downloads that are being gifted to you. So listen to those and follow those and allow that to be part of your guidance. Also, remember to call on your ancestors, on your guides, on your guardians, on your angels, or if you work with archangels, or ascended masters, creator, God, source, goddess, energy, whatever you connect to in that realm, that is your connection, the way you feel connected to it. Um, Remember to call on that energy, on all of those energies, on all of your divine helpers, right? Like that's what they're there for, but they can't just interfere with human free will. You have to call on them and ask for their help specifically. So maybe that's a start of a practice for you this month, is remembering to add that to your morning routine or your evening routine. Just a little spaciousness of sinking in, coming into yourself, and calling on the help from your guides and your angels and ancestors and all of that, and welcoming them into your life, so that this way you don't feel so alone in working through it, because a lot of times we create this disconnection because we forget that we can call on help. We forget that we're connected to all of these unseen things. And so taking that time to foster that connection, to call on help outside of this realm, to support you, to guide you, to help nurture you through the processes that you're experiencing, can be so beneficial in, one, making you feel not so alone, but two, also helping you to receive the intuitive guidance that's there for you that you might be blocked in hearing or recognizing within yourself. So, definitely, that is part of this. So, I pulled two cards for the collective. I was working with my Sacred Rebels Oracle deck and the Priestess of Light Oracle deck. So, Sacred Rebels, I love this card. I pulled this and I was like, oh, of course, this is amazing. Trust yourself. So, I love the imagery here of all the animals. Let's see if I can pull it closer, all the animals here. And I love the energy of this card, right? So when I think of being in intuitive flow, like, you're in sync with the connection and the rhythm of all of life around you, right? That is that ultimate flow energy where you can so fully trust and know that you are moving with the power of divine force flowing within you, and you are so deeply connected that it doesn't matter what challenges might present themselves. It doesn't matter if an idea or a plan you have um, thought of. It doesn't matter if that even like disappears or can't happen, or if someone ruins that for you. Like, none of that even matters. You're so in tune and so connected that you keep moving. You just keep moving because there's another path and you know it and you trust it. And there's such a fierceness yet tenderness in this energy. And I sense that so much in this card, right? I mean, you see, she's got animals of prey and she's got predators. There's a softness and a fierceness. And that is the standing in your power. That is that recognizing that you hold both within you, and how can you channel that into being so that you also feel this connection to everything while knowing that you are ultimately the one that is co-creating and deciding what you're listening to and doing on your path. It's a very powerful card. And again, trust yourself, right? There's a lot of energy around trusting yourself right now. So I definitely feel like that is something really necessary for you to listen to at this time. The Priestess of Light card. I felt like I needed to pull two. And I said, give me the energy of the month, and then let's fine tune that energy. What is it going to feel like for people moving through it? And